Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you for this opportunity to look at your scripture, and we ask that you would open our hearts and our minds, and that we would gain wisdom and draw closer to Jesus as we look at it. We ask you that you would help us to humble ourselves and accept your word as truth, and that we would follow humbly as you guide us. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. We all have situations. We all have problems that we have to go through. This goes to various degrees, and problems come in many forms. They can come from anywhere. It's life. It's things that we'll have to deal with. And right now we're going through all of this extra stuff with the virus, the issues, the restrictions. We have economy problems. We have the violence, the protests, and it goes on and on and on. And people are just basically on edge. That's pretty much across the board. The job that I have, we take complaints from the community, and boy do we. There's not too many happy people out there for whatever reason, but anyway, it's a good thing they have Facebook to vent it out. But how do we deal with all of this? It can be maddening, frustrating, at the very least stressful. And it feels like it's never going to end. Just when you think there's a lull coming, something else happens. And it's not just national issues, but it's life in general. We have work, family, school, there's never enough time. Myself, feeling tired all the time, and that's because of work, family, school, and never enough time. You can fill in your own blank with what is your stressor and what you're having to go through. And thinking about and looking at tough times and trials, and I wanted to check with 1 Samuel on a young David who was on the run from King Saul. And the stories of David are well known. They're used for Bible studies. They're used for children's stories. And David's probably one of the most relatable characters in the Bible. His life, as we go through that, if you read about his ups and downs, his blessings, the sins, everything that David had to go through, you can read through his story and everybody can say, yeah, I know how he feels in that situation. I've had that happen. I know what he's going through. And then in chapter 17 of 1 Samuel, this is where David has killed Goliath. And going into chapter 18, David is now basically Saul's golden boy. He can do no wrong. And wisely, Saul keeps David close to him. He's very successful. He has the favor of the Lord with him. And we see in 1 Samuel in chapter 18, in the 5th verse, it says, whatever Saul sent him to do, David did successfully. That Saul gave him a high rank in the army, and this pleased all the people and Saul's officers as well. Everybody loved David. He had the favor of the Lord with him. Everything he did, he was successful at. No matter what was given to him, he would do it. And do it well, and usually beyond and above. And it was making Saul look good at the same time. When your top guy is doing this well, it's only going to reflect on the king. But as this continued, David's success made him very popular. Everybody knew him. He was basically, at the time, he was a hero. It's almost a superhero type situation. He would go into these battles of unsurmountable odds, and he would come out winning every time. As we continue into the 6th verse, When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul, with singing and dancing, with joyful songs, and with tambourines and lutes. And as they danced, they sang, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." Can you imagine Saul's face when they came out and he's, okay, they're praising me, they're singing, and then they get to and David his 10,000. This is where it all starts to go sour. The pride and the jealousy start to take over Saul. It says Saul was very angry with this, and this refrain galled him. They have credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David. So basically the chorus tipped him off. They were singing praises to David, and he didn't like it. What more can he take other than the kingdom itself? And right here, David's life is about to take a huge turn for the worse. And as we start getting into the problems that David's going to have, start thinking about your own issues, your own